Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is your opportunity in this section to bring forth your opinion. And I want you to use the chat box effectively. As we move on, we'll give you opportunity also to speak to into the webinar itself. Well, I'm going to move now into panel discussion. And what do I call it? The scene is set already, and we have all listened to the importance, to the different presentation on the importance of soil information system. But I want us to bring this into context and then not allow these to fall like another academic or project activity. Let's discuss it rigorously and bring in practical issues, what is existing already, and our experience on the field to bear. To do this discussion, I have panelists here, and the first on my panelist list is also Rick, that has just presented for Africa. So Rick is the first panelist. Thank you very much, Rick, for your willingness to be here. The next is the manager of International Cooperation for Africa at the Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands. Well, she has worked in several African countries, and looking at her profile, I call her the prime friend of the farmers because she has worked strongly on smallholder farmers issue as she worked in the private sector, in the public sector, in FAO, and in HIVAD over the years. Jenny van der March will also be in the panel, and she will be contributing to this discussion. But we have spoken so well about Lucas, and soil information system should be modeled after Lucas. Dr. Howard Jones is here. In fact, I almost want to say his middle name is Lucas because he has done a lot around Lucas and is the current coordinator of Lucas. Dr. Howard, you are welcome into this panel discussion, and we hope to get a lot from you. But we did not leave out the farmers. King David Amoah is the president of Farmers Organization Network in Ghana and the Ghana Federation for Agricultural Producers. That association has over 500,000 members, and the majority are women. So his association gathers women and men together. Dr. King David Amoah has been involved in building smallholder capacity for a very long time, and then he leads farmers. It's a prominent voice on the continent. And I am very happy that he's here. You know, I call him doctor because he had PhD. And so he understands the nitty-gritty, and he understands the language of the researchers, the technocrats, and he understands the language of the smallholder farmers. Dr. David Amoah, you are welcome. I mean, we truly want to get the perspective of the farmers on this particular important subject. Well, I've gone far and wide to go and look for a veteran researcher and scientist. And this is Dr. Ishaku Amapu. He's a soil scientist with specialization in soil fertility management. And he currently works with the Department of Soil Science, Faculty of Agriculture, and also the Institute of Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in Nigeria. Well, check Google for his publication. He has published far and wide on soil fertility, and he has keen interest in digital issue around soil. Professor Amapu has over 30 years teaching and operational research experience. I think I've participated in a number of research and development projects with him, so I know the type of quality he brings into this discussion. Professor Amapu, you are welcome. We are happy to have you here, and we will benefit from you. Well, like I love to say, we have European and African partners in this panel. Dr. Niels Bochard is also here. Dr. Niels Bochard is the project coordinator and manager at the National Research Institute, NRI, in Finland. And he has wide experience in managing research and development projects. He currently coordinates the Sustain Africa project, and he also will be bringing into this discussion his wide experience and how we can work together to ensure that the soil information system become a veritable tool in triggering development action. Dr. Niels, you're welcome. Yes, We have a technocrat or a policymaker also in-house, McPherson in Tara. He is the Chief Land Resource Conservation Officer at the Ministry of Agriculture and Soil Security. And in Malawi, I mean, he has about 2 decades experience working with farmers in the promotion of sustainable land management. And he is also a smallholder farmer person. His work revolves around their production system. Well, since 2016, McPherson was the national coordinator for the Flood-Based Livelihood Network and is currently the president of Rainwater Harvesting Association of Malawi. McPherson, thank you for your long years contribution to this type of discussion. We will be learning from you. Now, having introduced all my panelists here, I want to get into the discussion proper. And I'm going to be starting from the farmer, the researcher, and the policymaker, McPherson. So this particular question goes to them because I want us to pick it from the practical point of view. And I want to craft it like this. What is the pressing need for a soil information system in Africa vis-a-vis the need for sustainable intensification? And I'm going to start with Professor Amapu. I mean, looking at knowledge generation research, what is the pressing need? I mean, can you bring it up? Because I preempt that if there is no pressing need, if we can still do without it, then we are just putting another tool somewhere there that nobody is demanding for. So Professor Amapu, from the side of a researcher, technology generation, what is the pressing need? I mean, you have just a minute or two to give us the points. Professor Amapu, you have the floor. Is Professor Amapu there? I saw him just now. Wow. Wow, okay. I'm going to take the same question to the farmer. Okay, and then Dr. King David, can you give me the pressing need for soil information system from the farmer's side of view? Is he? Wow. Okay. He's also not there. I saw him now. And hello, my high CT, can you please wade in? Benjamin, can you wade in? We are my panelists.
Yeah, Dr. King David was there. I believe he has.
Okay.
Yeah,
is McPherson there? McPherson, can you please respond to this question?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, McPherson, please, can you give us possibly when the researcher and the farmer gets back online, we will be able to get their comment. McPherson in Tara, can you please?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the facilitator. And I would like to acknowledge the high-level panelists and all the participants in this webinar. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Indeed, I'm in Malawi. I work for the Ministry of Agriculture. And within the Ministry of Agriculture, I'm with the Land Resources Conservation Department. And within the Land Resources Conservation Department, we have the Land Resource Survey and Evaluation Unit, which has a very keen, which is very keen on matters to do with soil and soil information. So this webinar is very important for us as a ministry, but also as a department. We are looking forward to see how we can contribute and how we can be part of this process. Coming to your question, I think there's a lot that has been said already, and there's a lot that I can say. But I think in my view, and it's also the view of the department, is that we need a soil information system that can be user-friendly, that can be adoptable, and also that can be adaptable. If we look at Africa, so many countries, so many agroecological zones, But I think if we have got a very good soil information system as indicated by Rick, it means we should be able to adapt some other technologies and practices for sustainable soil management from one area into another area based on the soil information that we have. So I'm looking at a soil information system that can be adaptable and also that can be easily be used in decision making. Because if we're going to have a soil information system that is too complex and has all this jargon, then it's difficult for people to make decisions using that soil information system. So something that can also be user-friendly. From a policy point of view, I'm also looking at how the soil information system can easily be translated into economic analyses. Because for policymakers to make decisions, they need figures in monetary terms. So how will the soil information system help us to come up with a quantitative economic analysis that can be passed on to the policy makers and they can make policy decisions based on that. So something that can also be easily translated for the policy makers to make decisions. I think that's how I'm looking at it for a start. Thank you very, very much, the facilitator.
Yeah, thank you very much, my person. You brought it out smartly. I mean, I can pick two things clearly. The soil information system, if it's going to be relevant to the end user, especially analysts, that individuals that analyze for the policymakers, it should not use too much technical jargons. I'm picking that, technical jargons. It's painful that I can't find the farmers to tell us the type of language they would prefer to have so that this soil information, they can use it on the field. And you have mentioned it again, the need for economic analysis. Well, that is really very important, those 2 points. And I'm going to move right to Rick van der Baan. I mean, this soil information system seems to be like your baby. I mean, you're passionate about it and you are leading the entire team. Rick, what should Africa end user expect from the ongoing effort to develop the soil information system? I mean, is it going to be the usual? Or a lot of nice, fanciful maps with different dots everywhere? Or is it going to be something that the likes of King David Amoa can just access on his mobile phone and provide him with information? Is it going to be something that McIntyre can just put on? And then it's going to give him relevant information with which he will put policy briefs together for his bosses in his office. What should we expect? Rick, you have the floor.
I think it will be something in between, dear Wally. We need to manage expectations here. We take 20,000 samples for the entire Africa. So that is not a lot. So the information that is going to be available will not be on an extremely high resolution. And we will not advise individual farmers with fields of less than a hectare or even much smaller in Africa to use it to specifically manage their fields. So that needs to be said. What we are trying to do here is to set up a information system. Eventually, it will look like maps, but in a language and in a format that is usable for the user groups that I presented just in my presentation. But the thing is that those maps will not be a panacea for all the problems. The idea is that other entities, other users build services on top of this data set. So there will be spatial information on the soils of Africa in a format that can be used by others to provide services to the farmers, for instance, or to provide analysis to the policymakers. Very good example of this is that it can be very well used, and we have already experience with this, by fertilizer companies to design and produce site and crop specific fertilizers. And that's desperately needed in Africa. We need to move away from the 1 bag per acre, no matter what's in the bag, no matter how big the bag. And that's exactly what this information system can help with for those who are working much more on a regional level, to have enough information to build services on top of this system for the farmers and other land users. So we need to be careful not to overpromise. And also another remark that I would like to make is that this is also a first attempt to build a soil information system for Africa, building on Lucas, and it gets more value the longer we use it and the more data we put into it. So value increases after the lifespan of the project when the methodology is going to be used for a longer period of time.
Wow. Thank you very much for clarifying this in our minds. I mean, we must manage the end users, especially the stakeholders' expectation. But I just want to give a follow-up question. And you said, I want to find out at what scale, because a farmer that runs maybe 10 hectares, 20 hectares like David, this may not be too useful to him, except that he has broad knowledge on how to interpret the map. Okay, so at what scale should we be expecting this information? Is it at village level, at town, city level, or at country level? That's one. The second point you hit that I want clarification for the audience on is the issue of intermediaries. That, okay, maybe the extension agent with knowledge in soil will pick this up, digest it, break it down, and they can break it down in a format that will be useful for the farmers for its crop selection, and the same way for policymakers. Do you think, how do you see the future of this soil information system there? Will this soil information be built in such a robust manner that in future, I'm not saying from the current project, maybe in future, this soil information system will be transitioned into a tool that on my mobile phone, I can do digital picking, and it tells me that, well, the way your particular location is being used over time, watch out.
Yes.
You know, and this is what I think is practical. I want just your comment on this briefly, right, so I can move quickly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We are aiming to produce the eventual maps on a 250 meter by 250 meter resolution. What does that mean? Every square in Africa with a size of 250 by 250 meter, we have a prediction of the soil quality in that square. And you know, building a soil phone app is not difficult. You know, there are so many cell phone apps around the world. We can easily make a phone app on top of that database. That is not the difficulty. The difficulty is to make that information reliable and accurate. And you know, the system will be there, and in the beginning, the accuracy of the data will be limited. But the more information we add over time, the more accurate the prediction becomes for that specific square of 250 by 250 meter. So that is the idea of building a system that can grow over time and can improve over time, as long as
I am back on.
As long as you add more data to that. Is that a good answer to your question, Wally?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate this very brilliant response to this issue. I think, and we will definitely get this from the chat. I know what the stakeholders will be saying, that then if you that's leading the process and all of us working together with you, we better think ahead and make the base of this soil information system very robust so that it is expandable and it can grow into a utility, the type that I just described. I hope I'm speaking the mind of the broad stakeholder group, I mean the end users. I just saw that King David Amoa is back and Professor Amapu is back. I don't know what took you away. Is that the internet devil? I rebuked the devil. Now that you're back, I'm going to pose your question. King David Amoa.
Thank you. I am back.
Did you get the question? So let me pose the question again. I said,
thank you.
What is the pressing need for a soil information system in Africa vis-a-vis the need for sustainable intensification from a farmer's perspective? The same question goes to Professor Amapu from a researcher perspective. So King David, please quickly give us, because time is going quickly.
Thank you very much. Let me thank the organizers for inviting a farmer to this important webinar meeting. As the discussions the previous speakers have said, all these information, soil information systems, the end user is the farmer. And all the researchers, all the talking that we do, the research and all that, it ends up with the farmer. And if the farmer doesn't use all these findings, useful findings and useful technologies, it becomes not adaptable. But going straight to the point, I think it is very interesting that the soil information, as you have just said, the intensification is very important. We are talking about the judicious management of soil intensification. And I'm also aware that the soil intensification system has already been done by the Soil Research Institute of Ghana. And what it is meant for is for investors, foreigners, natives, farmers, and all stakeholders to be aware of where they will have space for farming. We know that the previous government in Ghana has actually allocated some agricultural lands like the one in Weja, agricultural farmlands, and then Ashaman and other places. Our concern is the fact that when all these things are done, there is no actual policy that backs it, especially when you think about urbanization and then real estate development that go in to take over all these good agricultural lands and the soil information systems. So we as farmers will be very much interested if we could come up with a policy that will actually force our governments to develop or to set aside some agricultural lands that will not be taken over no matter what, whether by the urbanization or real estate developers. We know that soil is one factor that is very crucial for farmers. And if nothing is done, now if you drive along Accra to Nsawam, no farmlands are there. All have been converted into agricultural real estate buildings here and there. So it will be very important that some policy is actually put in place and enforced in such a way.
Yeah, thank you very much, King David. I mean, I've seen the entire sentiment, and you have taken it also to a very sensitive point, but we will come to that point. Let me quickly take the comment from the researcher, Professor Amapu. Please unmute your microphone.
Okay. I'm very sorry, my system just went blank, but I'm back.
That's level.
Right. This is to sincerely thank the organizers for getting me to participate in this program. To address the first issue, I think we're all in agreement that intensification is inevitable in Africa now. And there's also no saying the fact that, you know, to have a good plan, you need good data, requisite data. And unfortunately, as many of us are aware, Nigeria, like most other states around Africa, is actually data poor, both in quality and quantity and the accessibility of data. In fact, from the experiences we've had in projects we have participated, you go to what you consider the most appropriate places, and you don't get the information you want. A clear example was when we actually tried to work with ISRIC as Johan Linas and the late Professor Inaku Ode of University of Sydney, to document the Nigerian soil legacy data. As I said, you go to the most appropriate of places and you will not get, data. So the point is that this is a very commendable effort by Soils for Africa to actually have a soil information system. And what we will say here is that indeed the need is great, and there's the need for this effort to be supported by others. And I'm happy that in Nigeria we have an initiative that is same, almost or similar to what the Soil for Africa is about doing. And we need to actually harmonize our efforts. We need to put our efforts together in addition to harmonizing our efforts to ensure that we really have this soil data, which could actually help us to plan. Just as all of us well know, there's a popular saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And indeed, you cannot plan without data, as I mentioned. The other thing that we really need, to ensure that this effort leads to sustainability is the fact that we need to have the persons that will actually man, both the data generation and data management very seriously. And I dare say that currently in sub-Saharan Africa, we are actually in dire need of those critical scientists in those critical areas, particularly persons with requisite knowledge of data generation, analysis, and interpretation. And we need people that actually have technical proficiency skills, in actually spatial ecology and measurements and all sorts of those things that will ensure that the data gathered will be of use. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. You have made an allusion to this important point. So from the researcher point of view, availability of data is a major issue, and you think that the soil information system is going to help. Now, as you just reflect on this, when I come back to you, you may make a comment around it. Okay. Now, this particular Soil for Africa is going to take one-time data, and then we expect that, as things evolve, maybe there will be another opportunity to collect more data and then improve the system. Okay, there's a particular question in the chat. I will bring it back to Rick around that. But I want you to think carefully around this. At what frequency should the data be upgraded for it to be useful to the researchers and knowledge generation entity? We're going to come back to you. But let me move now to Europe. And then I'm going to be asking Howie Jones. I mean, we are structuring the soil information system for Africa following the Europe experience. And Europe has actually done a lot around Lucas. I checked the internet quickly to understand what Lucas is. And I realized that Lucas started since 2009, okay? And Lucas has collected data in 2 phases and the analysis has been going on. And since we have Arwen here, he's going to tell us. Let me quickly read this to you, the audience. He said, the land use and coverage area frame survey, that is Lucas, is an extensive and regular topsoil survey that is carried out across the European Union to derive policy relevant statistics on the effect of land management on soil characteristics. Said approximately 45,000 soil samples has been collected from 2 time period, 2009 to 2012 and 2015. By repeating the survey every few years, changes to land use can be identified. So Lucas soil represents the largest harmonized open access data set of topsoil properties available for the European Union at the global scale. It was developed as an expandable resources with the possibility to add new properties and sampling location during the successive sampling campaign. Now, Howie, what lessons will Soils for Africa and Africa Partner learn from Lucas? Now, I want to ask you also that it has come of age, 2009 to now, I mean a decade plus. Is there any impact to this soil information, to the Lucas soil information system, Is there any measurable impact, or you have not actually conducted any impact assessment from Lucas? Okay, and it will be important for us also to have an understanding of, the subsequent sampling. Did you sample the same location again, or you just expand the sampling? Okay, and how did you actually run it, so that we can learn and then move very fast to bridge up with you. This is about Europe-Africa partnership. So Howin Jones, you have the floor to respond to my multiple questions.
Indeed, thank you very much. I think if I go into detail for all of your questions, we'll be here until tomorrow, but let's say I'll try to give you some quick summaries. Because indeed, what the main reason for Lucas originally was to be able to have a comprehensive picture of the condition of soils across Europe, because in many European countries, as it is in Africa, the information that was collected by countries was either out of date or it didn't actually reflect the main policy questions that were being asked at the time. And I think very importantly, in particular for us, we found it very difficult to assess trends in soil conditions. So the original Lucas was set up very much in the same way as I see the soils for Africa, as a baseline against which we could observe changes in soil condition as a result of predominantly how the land is being managed. We don't necessarily focus exclusively on agricultural soil. So that's a big difference between the EU and Africa, is that we also capture information from other land cover categories, the semi-natural, some urban areas as well, and forests. So the idea is that the perception is that how policies that affect the land are implemented can have a bearing on the condition and eventually the health of soils and their capacity to provide ecosystem services. So indeed, we started in 2009 with a sample of around 22,000 locations. This was increased slightly in 2015 because of new countries that became part of the European Union. And in 2018, these 25,000 locations were repeated again. And we're currently planning next year to have the fourth Lucas survey, which has been extended to over 40,000 locations, predominantly targeting agricultural area, I have to say, so that we will have these 4 time steps. And I think what's important is that indeed the data that we have collected up till now has been used for a huge amount of applications. It's been used to validate models. It's been used to parameterize models. We are using it to look at changes. One of the things to bear in mind, of course, that soil conditions change relatively slowly over time. So at the moment, comparing, let's say, 2009 to 2015, the degree of change is very difficult to quantify from a statistically significant point of view, because this is only capturing the first 5 years. Now we've just taken delivery of the data for 2018. We have a longer time period, and we should be able to see over that period a much clearer indication of trends in soil characteristics, which indeed we are beginning to observe, let's say, of soil carbon stocks and so on. But I think the important point to bear in mind is that there are some soil characteristics that are relatively stable over time. So now we don't measure, for example, the texture anymore. That's been done once. It's relatively stable. But what that gives us is the capacity then to look at more relevant aspects, to put more detail, for example, into understanding soil biodiversity, let's say at a bacterial level, what's happening in relation to pollutants, so we can put a greater emphasis on modeling pollutants. So this is the more modular component that we are trying to measure.
Okay.
And I think an important, if I may make a last point, an important aspect is that initially, while this started out as an EU-wide operation, it's now become a sort of de facto soil monitoring program for the EU with an increasing buy-in from countries. And I think that's the strength potentially of the Soils for Africa project, that here we're trying to set up a model that can be applied at a continental scale, but equally it can be applied at a national or regional scale, so that you can have this tiered approach where increased data flows into the soil information system. And by doing this, you move from, let's say, the current round where we are predominantly targeting policymakers to a level where we can support farmers with very precise local information. But that needs an investment. Now, somebody has to invest and commit to installing that approach at a national or regional level.
Wow, thank you very much, Arwin, for the very good explanation. I got it all, and I'm sure the stakeholders in this webinar also got it. Now, you made an important statement, which I think Rick also may just pick as a point. All of us also pick it in a useful way. Maybe we may need to think through process to bring this down to national level, okay? So that the countries can pick the methodology, maybe the policy maker, the government system can pick it, establish their own soil data collection framework. And at that point, it spreads around the country, then the system can provide information to the last mile user, the farmers. It's a pity that Lucas did not give prime attention to agricultural land, because I would have loved to know what the impact of it is on the farmer. But based on that point, I move to the next question. And I'm going to go back to Professor Amapu, King David, and I'll push the same up. I'm going to start from Jenny and Neil Bochard. Now, I want to say that how can we ensure that the soil information system developed by Soil for Africa projects will be used effectively by others, okay? Because, Jenny, because we're thinking that this information system will become a part of the FNSSA data pool. And so, and you anchor the partnerships among all these initiatives and projects. I think Wageningen also is part of the coordination of LEAP for FNSSA project. So how do we ensure, okay, that the use will be very, very effective? Let me take Jenny first, so that everybody believes that I'm gender sensitive.
Thank you, Wole. But let me start by saying that FARA, so you are also part of the coordination, yes, because this is a joint European-African program. Yeah. I would like to go back into time a little bit, and I will take many shortcuts for the sake of time. Yeah. Heads of European and African heads of state met. This was in 2007, and they decided that their collaboration on science and innovation, research, science, and technology was very fragmented. Yeah. And with the issues of SDGs, hunger, et cetera, it would be very wise to harmonize and speed up. And so a high-level policy dialogue on science, technology, and innovation was installed in 2010. Yeah. And it is from that high-level policy dialogue on science, technology, and innovation that the roadmap on food, nutrition, security, and sustainable agriculture was developed. And as Marta said in the very beginning, this project, as many others, including the Leap for FNSSA project, is part of this Europe-Africa FNSSA partnership. And the objective of the Leap for FNSSA partnership is to build or facilitate a bicontinental, so Europe-Africa platform. And what is that platform going to be? It is indeed going to be or include a knowledge management and information system. It will also be a platform where you can meet many stakeholder groups, because I wrote down, Rick clearly said, the information that this project is going to generate would have to be used by private sector, by policymakers and others. And this is why I am also emphasizing the history of this bicontinental platform, as it links automatically to the European and the African policymakers. So this platform that is under development should take care of this. Now, one last remark before you are going to the next panelist, Wale. As I said, it is under development, the knowledge management system, which in a way is sad, because I can't give you very concrete answers that this is where it will fit and this is how it will go. It is also a huge opportunity, because there are invitations for everyone to participate into the development of this knowledge management system. Currently, there are lots of efforts going on in clustering, ensuring that all the projects, and there are at least 300 under this partnership, are talking to each other, know what each one is doing. So cluster-wise, the projects are invited to talk to each other so that they can build upon results of what others have done, and also be informed and inspired by other projects. So lots of opportunities there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenny. I think this is very rich, and the point where you closed will be very useful to pose appropriate question to Niels. Niels, you are there? Niels, effort is going on to ensure that project talks together. And Niels, you are leading the Sustain Africa project. How do we ensure that the soil information system find relevance in all this project? Of course, most of the projects talk about sustainable intensification, but they address different components of this sustainable intensification. So what are the points, the key things we need to do, and we need to start doing from now? So Niels, you have the floor to respond. Is Niels there? Oh, okay. Niels is not there. I hope he finds a way to come back. Okay, I'll go now. I'll quickly move to the last question. The issue of sustainability also becomes very important, Professor Amapu. Okay, and we know that Soils for Africa, it's a project. It has a limited time, possibly in the next, we are moving into the second year, it has a 4 years lifespan. So how do we ensure, especially for Africa, that this good soil information system becomes sustainable? It will not, so that it will not become something that becomes obsolete after some time, something that we keep using. I know that there are sustainability thoughts in the mind of Soil for Africa project itself. But from Africa, what are the core things that we need to put in place? Professor Amapu. Professor Amapu, I can see your picture. Are you still there?
Thank you.
Yes, okay.
I think one of the things that Yes, I'm talking. I'm with you, yes? Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay. I started by saying that, of course, sustainability is the goal of any good initiative. And as for Africa is concerned, sustainability, ensuring that the partners actually take ownership of the ideals, of this initiative. And I want to believe that this is ingrained, in the activities of the Excerpt for Africa project. That is very, very important.
Okay.
The owner from the policy right down to the farmer. There's this saying that comes to nobody, but when one takes it as it and nourishes it. Right.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Professor Amapu. Although the internet devil is still ranging somewhere there, we did not hear you, it was breaking, but we got a bit of the information. Let me pose the same question to McPherson in Para.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. On sustainability, I listened keenly to what Rick earlier on mentioned about capacity building. And he mentioned about capacity building on maintenance, use, and extending the soil information. I think that is very important and it's key to sustainability. So yes, Rick asked the question, but he already gave us some of the solutions. But I would like to add that capacity building should extend to the methodologies that will be established. And what I mean is that we have local experts, we have local technical experts. These local experts should be empowered, and a key sustainability element should be empowering and building the capacity of the local experts and technical people within the host countries so that they are able to continue collecting the data, continue improving on the methodologies moving forward. In that way, we're going to create that sense of ownership, and they should be able to take it forward. So yes, capacity building should go beyond maintaining and use of the information system, but right away from the data collection and all the standardized methodologies. That element of capacity building should be entrenched for the local experts and the local technical people on the ground.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is very useful. Just permit me to jump on you here on this question of sustainability of the soil information system for Africa. From Lucas' experience, how do you ensure sustainability? Number one, for the system itself, one. And number two, for continuous utility. Use and utility of the Lucas system. Can I put it in a layman's language? Who is paying for Lucas?
Yeah, okay. So the Lucas survey is funded by the European Commission. So we have different policy DGs that contribute to the survey on the basis of specific questions that they have. So the part of the Commission looking at climate change, with agriculture, with environment, and also in terms of health, human health. So they all have questions on how certain aspects of soil are relevant to their policies. And so these ministries or divisions, I think there are in the Africa Union Commission, contribute. We then coordinate, the GRC coordinates all the activities. We also act as the long-term repository of the data. The data are on the whole freely available and are some of the most downloaded data sets that we have. Okay. Increasingly, as you demonstrate results of the data that is collected, you find that now that within the European Green Deal, the Lucas soil is being written into different parts of legislation now. So that we should develop a comprehensive soil pollution module. We should be using it to assess soil biodiversity in a more comprehensive manner. So in a way, the success of Lucas generates more interest and more needs. So I think for Africa, indeed, there has to be, as I said, I think also a buy-in from local stakeholders, no, from the Africa Union Commission, maybe supported by World Bank. I'm sure that there will be continued interest from the EU, but also from the individual countries as well. They have to see that there is a value to soil and that they need to really manage and understand how land use is affecting the capacity of them to have healthy soils. So I think to have the sustainability, you have to have this big buy-in from an African perspective as well.
Thank you very much. I tell you, this response is really, really very, very useful. Getting the locals to have buy-in, getting the policy making system in the country to have buy-in, and for the different countries, that is useful. In fact, that is throwing in certain assignment to Professor Chude and the African group of the Global Soil Platform to reflect on and see how do we persuade our policymakers to see the importance of this. But I think if you have evidence, then the policymakers are easy to persuade. Good. Thank you very much, my panelists. I want to go to the audience. And I've been reading through the chat, a lot of, very important questions are here. And I think, Mary.
Can I make some contribution, Prof?
Yes, you will make it, but let me just finish this. You will make it, King David. Yeah. So I have seen that, and I think, Mary, you are able to put a few of the very vital questions together for the panelists to address. I'll come back to you. But ladies and gentlemen, a poll will be coming up immediately now. And I want to ask the high tea to start posting the poll. The panelists cannot be part of the poll, but you can see it. It's only the audience that can contribute to the poll. So let the polls go on while Mary prepare to present the question. And then King David, you can make your comment now. King David, you can make your comment now.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think the issue of sustainability is very, very important, and especially to we the farmers, because if sustainability is not upheld, it means all the work that has been done all these years will just go waste. We know how much it is costing Soils for Africa to come up with this very good project. And I think soil issue should be taken very seriously. And I think with the collaboration between the farmers and especially the Ministry of Agric and the research institutes. You know, in Ghana, we have different ministries. There must be a harmonization between the Ministry of Agric and the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, so that this thing trickles down. I also want to say that knowledge sharing is very important, because all this good work, knowing where the soils are good soils, and knowing very well that these days our soils are becoming eroded and degraded and even spoiled by this galamsey issue. We need to take very good care of our soils. Otherwise, the future of agriculture in Africa, and for that matter, Ghana, will be very bleak, because we see the distractions that are going on our soils, because people are mining for gold and then for forest resources. So I think that education is very, very important, so that we all buy in. From the farmers' perspectives, the NGO, and even bringing in the media, so that they can keep.
We got your point, King David. We got your point. I'm sorry to jump in that way, but that's my role, and because of our time. But this.
Thank you.
and it's strong enough. So please let the poll go on quickly. Mary Tibarik, can we get the comment? I observe that panelists can vote. So people in the panel, you can also vote in the poll.
Okay.
So Mary, you have the floor, please.
I'm trying to get back on. Okay. I think maybe two major or three major groups of questions here. We had most people asking about the scale of application of the CIS. And the second group of questions that I think we can address has to do with sustainability. And the third, a lot of people are asking, we already have harmonized data sets and harmonized methodologies and data. So why doing that again? Those are the three groups of questions, the main ones that, do you have more? So
yeah, that's pretty much the broad groups.
Yeah, I think those are the broad groups. So to the panelists, yeah, what are the strategies to make sure that this is not just one of the efforts that gets forgotten after this? Yeah.
I think the panelists, they've responded to that. And they've all responded to that, the sustainability strategy to ensure that it goes on and goes on. And it revolves around persuading our policymaker. And that is why I brought out that question in a very practical way, that from Lucas, who pays? Anwen has told us that European Union is paying. Of course, European Union is still keenly interested in Africa, but I'm picking the statement from the lips of my very big boss in Farah, that you cannot build your kitchen. You cannot increase your family based on the size of your neighbor's kitchen. So possibly Africa needs to look inward for who pays within for the expansion of the soil information system. That's just my opinion, candid opinion. So the second question, Mary, what is it?
Yeah, that's about, the second one has to do with the scale of application of the information system. There are a number of people who want to know if it can be used at, field scale, farm level, small farms. But I think, Rick also gave answer to that, but I give the question.
Maybe Rick, you need to repeat this again. Maybe. If some of the questions are falling in that area, I saw it.
Right. Okay, let me try. Well, thanks for the question. And it's a question, those questions come up all the time. And it's important to be clear about it. As I said, 20,000 samples for the entire continent is not much. But because of clever digital soil mapping technologies, we can make predictions for 250 by 250 meter resolution. That, however, doesn't mean that the system is applicable for those kind of small fields, because it's all about accuracy. Is it accurate enough? And I'm 100% sure that if we have a sustainable system that lasts over a longer period of time, and we have a community of practice around it that uses this system in a similar manner, and we are all working in the same direction, and every time we do sampling campaigns, we do it according to the same methodology, and we upload this data into the same system, we will get a system that eventually could be applicable on farmers' field level. But that is over time. In the beginning, at the end of the project, it will be applicable on regional scale. That means villages and larger.
Thank you very much. Before we take the third category of question from Mary or from Abraham, I saw Professor Ogukule raised a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, and I truly want Rick to just make a statement around that question. He was saying that we will continue to sample after the first sampling. What is in the methodology for continuous sampling? Is it the same point? Is it new points? Did you get me, Rick? The same point or new points, so that we can do continuous expansion. Since we are taking 20,000, only 20,000 now, So is it the next level of sampling? Is it going to be the same point?
No,
it can be new points. Yeah.
It can be different points. The idea is that in the end, every country or maybe within a country, they can design their own sampling strategy as long as they use the same ways of sampling, the same ways of analysis. The data will be comparable to the ones generated by Solves for Africa. And they will improve the predictions of the soil maps that comes out of the system. And eventually, if there's enough data, you can also make time steps and see how the soil evolves over time. So it doesn't need to be the same location. Absolutely not.
That's excellent. So Abraham, anything from you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Abraham. Please.
Yeah, okay. We have a large number of questions. We have received a large number of questions, and there are a lot of technical questions. Just one of them I would like to throw up right now at this point is people have suggested that there are several smartphone-based farmer decision support services or tools out there. And do we have a strategy or a view as to how the soil information system could be integrated into that ecosystem of services?
Ecosystem support. Okay, maybe I'll go back to Rick again.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a good question, and it's a nice question, and it links to what I earlier said. You know, this project is going to deliver a basic soil information system, and those services that are built by those service providers with their mobile phone apps, if they use soil information, it would be extremely nice if they tap into this system to get the soil information they need to develop the service that they are developing. So this could be a sort of a ground layer for those services that Abraham was talking about. But we are not going to develop those services, of course, because they are different for every different part of Africa, for different farmers, for different land uses. So that is all up to the user.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Rick. Abraham, I may come back to you, but I want to ask the audience that I will take additional 5 minutes from your time. I want to take people that raise up their hand in the audience. I think, a lot of hands, but Kabiru Alanishitu, are you there? Kabiru Alanishitu, so that you quickly make your comment. Okay. If not, okay. If not, then I move to Agnes Kapingu. Agnes Kapingu. Oh, if Agnes is also not there, Samuel Mesele. Samuel Mesele, can I get your comment quickly? Oh.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
My question just revolves around the issue of awareness creation as part of the effort of the project, that people get to know about what the aim of the project is, and even in their different partner institutions get awareness across the institution, because the more people are aware, the more the platform becomes functional. That what effort are we making to ensure that all the needed stakeholders all the stakeholders are involved and are aware of what the project is trying to do and how they can contribute in their own capacities. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I think Abraham, be prepared to respond to that to that questions. Let's allow Rick to have some rest here. Yeah. Abraham, can you please respond to that question? It's about publicity and communication for the soil information system.
Oh, I think Abraham said you didn't hear it.
You did not hear. Oh, he's busy with other things.
I'm sorry, I could not hear the question.
Okay. Well, we can pick the question back. So let me go back to other individual in the project. Mary, do you want to respond to that? What effort is the project putting in to enhance publicity so that people know and they are conscious?
project website, and we have the social media channels. But on the website, you can get a lot of information on the deliverables, the results of the project so far, and the activities of the project. And FARA is our partner in charge of stakeholder engagement. So they are also a broad stakeholder interviews were conducted at the beginning. So I think our facilitator is our direct person in this regard. Maybe you can add something to it.
Good. Thank you very much, Mary. Then Aisha to Taran Diallo, if you are there quickly, you have the floor now to quickly present your question. After that, I think Kofi, are you ready with the compilation of the polls? Okay. Then Agnes Kapingu, are you there? I want to move quickly. Agnes Kapingu, please quickly present your comment. I saw that you are into the panelist group now. Agnes Kapingu. Oh, time. Okay, what about Newton Inyapwere? Newton Inyapwere. Okay.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Okay, Newton, please be quick. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question concerning the national soil information systems. You realize that most countries, for example, Zimbabwe, these two don't have a soil information system, and also that their data is still not digitized. So in terms of the Africa Soil Information System, how best can these countries without this information, especially those who still have 1:1 million, be assisted so that they also contribute to this?
Okay. Yeah, that's taken. Thank you, Newton. Yes. Okay, I'll go to Rick. Yeah, Rick, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Newton. That's a great question. Now, in this project, as it is formulated now, there is no room to help individual countries to set up a soil information system for their country. But if we look at the Global Soil Partnership, there's a lot of efforts to help national institutions to build capacity and to be able to build an own soil information system that deals with their own soils and with their own stakeholders. And we are also part of those efforts. And we would love to link these two efforts together in order to make sure that, we get a lot of national institutions around this system, receiving capacity building, receiving training, and adding information to the system. So our agenda is to bring those two initiatives together to make sure that there is enough capacity building to work on this soil information system together.
That's great. And then, I want to begin to draw the curtain following that comment, but I'm going to give all panelists opportunity to make just one sentence to close it all. And I'm going to start from Professor Amapu Yuahon, followed by King David. So can we start quickly?
Thank you very much. I would like to say this is a great initiative. And as a concluding remark, one of the other suggestions I would like to make with respect to sustainability is actually the need for us, most of us in Sub-Saharan Africa, to change our qualitative assessment to quantitative. That knowledge, we need to change that. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Thank you. King David Amwa, are you there?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. I think it's a very good initiative, and we want to see it being implemented throughout the whole AU countries. I think issue of soils very important, and the work Soils for Africa is trying to do is in the right direction, and then we the farmers are all out for it. So you can count on us as members of the stakeholders. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is Mark Person there? Macpherson Intara. Are you still there? No, I can't see him in the panelist group. Okay, Howin, your last comment.
Well, the Soils for Africa project is a beginning, no? And I think it's laying the foundations for the way forward. And let's hope that people are inspired to contribute more.
Okay, thank you very much. Is Jenny still in? No, I can see Jenny. Okay, let me take the last comment from the chief host, the chief presenter, and the chief. We have used him too much today. Rick, your concluding comment.
Yeah, well, I already had a lot of possibilities to talk. You know, the last thing I wanted to say about sustainability, if we manage to produce something that is useful, other people will take care of it. And that is something we need to keep in mind. If it's useful, people will pay for it in a later stage to take care of it. And I think the African Union, if they would put some money on the table to take care of this baby and bring it further and raise it, that will be extremely welcomed.